This because this has some information I think you're going to want to hear about. I'm not going to play the Jeff Sessions interview on here. See that? It's my first video today. Attorney General Jeff Sessions but you need to hear the timeline in this. Attorney General Jeff Sessions confirms prior appointment of DOJ prosecutor to parallel IG Horowitz, not a special counsel. There has been a great deal of consternation directed towards AG Jeff Sessions surrounding the ongoing FISA abuse scandal and the larger issues of unlawful DOJ and FBI conduct in their political investigation of candidate Donald Trump. It is a matter of great division amid people who follow the details. That said, AG Sessions revealed tonight in an interview with Shannon Bream that he previously appointed a DOJ official to investigate the issues delivered by Chairman Goodlatte prior to receiving the request for a special counsel from Goodlatte and Gowdy. You know what? Let's just watch it because some people watching this might not have seen this. So I'm going to play this again and then skip forward if you want to hear the timeline.
Chairman Bob Goodlatte and House Oversight Committee Chairman Trey Gowdy both penning a letter to the Attorney General asking for a second special counsel, citing as part of that these so-called FISA abuses. So I asked the Attorney General what he thinks of their request.
Well, I have great respect for Mr. Gowdy and Chairman Goodlatte, and we're going to consider seriously their recommendations. I have appointed a person outside of Washington many years in the Department of Justice to look at all the allegations that the House Judiciary Committee members sent to us, and we're conducting that investigation. I also am well aware that we have a responsibility to ensure the integrity of the FISA process. We're not afraid to look at that. The Inspector General, some think that our Inspector General is not very strong, but he has almost 500 employees, most of which are lawyers and prosecutors, and they're looking at the FISA process. We must make sure it's done properly, and we're going to do that, and I'll consider their request.
I know that a couple of things the chairman outlined, that they were worried that the Inspector General wouldn't have the same kind of access or subpoena powers to certain people who may not be under the reach of the DOJ as employees. What do you say to that concern?
That's a concern that I think is worthy of consideration, and we will consider that and are considering it, actually.
Okay, so the FISA applications that we've heard so much about in the news, there have been requests directly to the FISA court to be able to see some of that material. It's been referred back to the DOJ. Would you all release those applications so that people can see what was in them?
I am determined to release everything that's properly releasable. It does tend to be that the more you put these documents out, many of which are very sensitive, the more they leak. So we have to be careful about that. We also have to follow the rules of the department and legal requirements. So, but for example, the text messages that caused quite a stir, those were produced at our effort to make sure we produce everything possible. The Inspector General actually found those first, and then we made that public and determined we could make it public. Some objected to it. So you're raising a good point. We need to get as much public out to the public as possible and do it in a way that breeds confidence. And if there are errors within the department, we need to fix them. So we've got a new FBI director. President Trump appointed him. He's a talented person. He's got a new deputy replacing the previous deputy. We've got a new chief of staff in the FBI, a new communications director, a new chief counsel. So we've got a fresh start at the FBI, and these are people of integrity and ability. So I want the American people to know that things are being done, and we'll have the kind of department that everybody can respect. That is a determination of mine, and but we got to do it in a proper way.
And as to these decisions that you're making,
a very famous tweet the president sent out last week saying, why is AG Jeff Sessions asking the Inspector General to investigate potentially massive FISA abuse? Will take forever, has no prosecutorial power, and already late with reports on Comey, etc. Isn't the IG an Obama guy, he questions. Why not use Justice Department lawyers? All caps, disgraceful. You followed up with a statement that said, as long as I'm the Attorney General, I will continue to discharge my duties with integrity and honor. You talked about the work that's been done and what you have launched and feeling it's the appropriate process. Then you went out to dinner with the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, and the Solicitor General. And I'm not sure how that went over at the White House. What's the status of things?
Well, he's my deputy, and Noel is a great Solicitor General and a lot of fun, so we had an opportunity to dine together. But look, the President is the President of the United States. He has a right to criticize and make suggestions to the Department of Justice. We take that with great respect. What I said in that statement also was, we are determined to make sure the American people have confidence in the FISA process. That was part of my statement, too. And I say that as long as I'm Attorney General, we're going to make sure we do those things with integrity and justice as the American people want.
The President has said, just within the last couple of days, he likes some chaos. He likes some conflict. He thinks it makes him better, his decisions better, and that he likes to mix it up. And a lot of people say, well, this style is working. He is actually ticking things off of his agenda and getting things accomplished. What do you make of his management style?
I think President Trump moves the ball. He can get things done that I'm not sure any other person in America could get done. He is bold. He's not worried about what people say. I believe in the policies that he's advancing. That's why I supported him so early for president. He was saying the things that I thought Americans had a right to hear. He was promising to act on those things and get things done, and he does not like things not getting done. He keeps pushing every day. It's a remarkable strength that he has, and I think it's good for America.
All right. Is it good for Jeff Sessions, though? I don't know. Here for reaction.
All right, so you had closed captioning there. I couldn't turn it off because of my icon, but I guess it's good. You had words there too. But here's the whole 9 yards. We're going to skip the transcript, and we're going to go straight to the timeline. Well, there you have it. There is already an appointed person likely to be a prosecutor from outside of Washington in place prior to the recent request for a special counsel by Goodlatte and Gowdy. That was exactly what an objective analysis of events previously outlined and we previously noted. Attorney Sessions is noting the existence of an outside prosecutor who has been in place for quite a while, exactly as we thought. All the evidence is clear if you follow the granular details closely. Here's how we figure it out. There's also a reason why no one in Washington, D.C., including Congress and the President, was previously aware. To look at all the allegations that the House Judiciary Committee sent to us, here's an example, and here's the response. It says right here, this response to your letters dated July 27, 2017 and September 26, 2017, in which you and other members request the appointment of a special counsel to investigate various matters. Let me turn on the freaking light. It's so small. Special counsel to investigate various matters, including the sale of Uranium-1, alleged unlawful dealings related to the Clinton Foundation, and other matters. We are sending identical responses to other members who joined your letter. As noted during our prior meeting, in response to your letters, the Department of Justice takes seriously its responsibility to provide timely and accurate information to Congress on issues of public interest and seeks to do so in a non-political manner that is consistent with the department's litigation, law enforcement, and national security responsibilities. Additionally, the department's leadership has a duty to carefully evaluate statutes of ongoing matters to ensure that justice is served and that the department's communications with Congress are accurate and complete. To further that goal, the Attorney General has directed senior federal prosecutors to evaluate certain issues raised in your letters. These senior prosecutors will report directly to the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General as appropriate, and will make recommendations as to whether any of these matters not currently under investigation should be opened, whether any matters currently under investigation require further resources, or whether any matters merit the appointment of a special counsel. This will better enable the Attorney General conducting this review. All allegations will be reviewed in light of principles of federal prosecution. As you know, consistent with long-standing policy, the department does not ordinarily confirm or deny investigations, and this letter should not be construed to do so. While this policy can be frustrating, especially on matters of great public concern, it is necessary to ensure that the department acts with fairness and thoughtfulness, and always in a manner consistent with the law and rules of the department. God, that was straining on my eyes. Here, this is better. Number 1, the DOJ Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, has an obligation to notify his superiors when he or she discovers illegal activity or conduct that is likely unlawful while conducting an internal investigation. The IG cannot sit on knowledge or evidence of likely criminal conduct just because he or she is conducting the investigation. This is the same reason why IG Horowitz had to inform Special Counsel Robert Mueller in July 2017 of the potentiality of unlawful conduct of members on his team, Lisa Page and Peter Strzok. Number 2, the same people under investigation within the IG purview, FBI and DOJ officials, are transparently cooperating with the Inspector General. That cooperation, in combination with a likelihood of unlawful conduct, would require a DOJ official, prosecutor, to be assigned to negotiate and outline the DOJ legal terms of investigative compliance. The person negotiating the terms for cooperation would not be the Inspector General because of the potential for criminal charges related to the investigated individuals. It would be the job of a DOJ career prosecutor to comply with legal needs. Number 3, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Bruce and Nellie Orr, and Bill Priestrap have quotes inside the HPSCI memos. Those quotes come from investigative interviews. No congressional committee has interviewed those persons. Those would be a few of the people in number 2 above, and their testimony to Horowitz and a DOJ prosecutor would make them witnesses in a criminal investigation. That explains why they have not given interviews to congressional committees. The DOJ needs to keep the integrity of their testimony inside the investigative unit, i.e. in the control of the DOJ official from outside Washington that Jeff Sessions notes. Number 4, President Trump is the chief executive over the DOJ and FBI. However, in this odd dynamic, he is also the victim within the conspiracy as potentially outlined by the investigation. Therefore, again, to protect the integrity of the investigation and witness testimony, the victim would be kept at arm's length and not informed of the criminal investigation. That's why POTUS, Trump, doesn't know, and AG Sessions must keep distance from any discussion with the executive due to this separation. Number 5. Cooperating witness testimony in a criminal investigation also means Congress would not know the details. Congress, Nunes, Gowdy, and Goodlatte, wouldn't even know a criminal investigation was opened. The prosecutor works parallel with, but separate from, the IG investigation. Congress would know of the IG, but not the prosecutor. This interview by AG Sessions is the first indication Congress would have a DOJ official already looking at the criminal issues. Number 6. And the most transparent reason why we know there's a DOJ prosecutor already on the case is because Jeff Sessions just said there was. Here is U.S. Code explaining the power of the Inspector General. Make an arrest without a warrant while engaged in official duties as authorized under this Act or other statute, or as expressly authorized by the Attorney General, for any offense against the United States committed in the presence of such Inspector General, Assistant Inspector General, or agent, or for any felony cognizable under the laws of the United States, if such Inspector General, Assistant Inspector General, or agent has reasonable grounds to believe that the person to be arrested has committed or is committing such a felony, and seek and execute warrants for arrest, search of premises, or seizure of evidence issued under the authority of the United States upon probable cause to believe that a violation has been committed. Additionally, on February 27, 2018, AG Sessions held a press briefing to announce the Opioid Task Force, video below. During the question and answer segment of the presser, Fox Catherine Hedridge asked AG Sessions if the FISA court abuses outlined by Nunes, Goodlatte, and Grassley would be investigated by the DOJ. Sessions affirms the FISA court abuse by the DOJ and FBI will indeed be investigated and prosecuted, and directed attention to Inspector General Michael Horowitz. Video below. The links below. February 27 mentioned by AG Sessions was not news. This earlier admission is exactly what those who have followed closely will note has seemed to be the direction since mid-year 2017. As AG Sessions affirms, IG Horowitz is not limited in scope. Horowitz is investigating all avenues of politicization within the DOJ and FBI and abuse therein. This includes FISA abuse. And add this to Attorney General Jeff Sessions' answer today about the appointment of a DOJ official from outside Washington, and you can clearly see the IG and appointed prosecutor have been working together for quite some time. How long? Likely since the time when IG Horowitz informed the AG and AAG that he may have discovered significant evidence of unlawful conduct within the DOJ and FBI. That would be around July-August of 2017. More visibility of the prosecutor is clear within the timeline. January 4, 2018, an agreement was finally made between House Intelligence Committee Devin Nunes and DOJ Assistant Attorney General Rod Rosenstein for complete disclosure of all unredacted documents and a list of witnesses who Nunes wanted the HPSCI to question. Included in those names was FBI agent Peter Strzok and FBI lawyer Lisa Page, who exchanged anti-Trump text messages during an affair and previously worked on the special counsel's Russia probe. FBI General Counsel James Baker, who was reassigned, FBI Head of Counterintelligence Bill Priestrap, whom ex-FBI boss James Comey testified, made the decision not to brief Congress about the Russia case during last year's election, and Bruce Orr, a DOJ official reassigned after concealing meetings with figures involved in the dossier. January 4th agreement between Devin Nunes and Rod Rosenstein was made after a great deal of back and forth. Chairman Nunes then documented the agreement in a letter. FBI Assistant Director Bill Priestrap and FBI Special Agent James Rybecki will be made available for interviews to be conducted in January. On January 8th, Bruce Ohr was demoted for the second time, and DOJ officials scheduled Bruce Ohr to be available to Devin Nunes on January 17th. On January 9th, the DOJ provided the unredacted DOJ-FBI documents requested to Chairman Nunes. The documents the DOJ produced surrounded the Clinton-Steele dossier and the FISA Title I application. The documents were assigned to a SCIF in the basement of the House. Those documents become the basis for Chairman Nunes to outline his memo, essentially a declassification request to the White House written by Gowdy. As a result of the agreement between Rod Rosenstein and Devin Nunes, one member from each side of the HPSC aisle, one Democrat, one Republican, was permitted to review the original FISA application documents, which included the Clinton-Steele dossier use therein. Gowdy and Schiff were the only two Intel Committee members who reviewed. Remember, this is January 9, 2018. Only Gowdy, Schiff, Radcliffe, and House Judiciary Chairman Goodlatte reviewed the original FISA documents. A week later, January 16th, Chairman Nunes postponed the witness interview with DOJ official Bruce Ohr, scheduled for the next day, January 17th. Instead, on January 18, the HPSCI voted to allow all members of the House to review the Nunes-Gowdy memo, created after the DOJ provided the documents, January 9th. January 18th through February 2 was hashtag release the memo. Now remember, throughout this time, none of those prior agreed upon 5 witnesses, Strzok, Page, Priestrap, Baker, Ohr, have been interviewed. Everyone's attention shifted from witness testimony to the memo. And as Democrat Eric Swalwell stated, no witness was interviewed, period. So to summarize so far, during January, all the DOJ documents arrived. The HPSCI, Nunes, memo was written, released, declassified, and released to public on February 2nd. But no witnesses testified. So the question becomes, how does the exact testimony, including quotes of Bruce Ohr and Bill Priestrap, become part of the Nunes memo if neither Bruce Ohr or Bill Priestrap was ever interviewed by the House Intelligence Committee? Right here it says, during the same time period, Ohr's wife was employed by Fusion GPS to assist in the cultivation of opposition research on Trump. Ohr later provided the FBI with all of his wife's opposition research, paid for by the DNC and Clinton campaign via Fusion GPS. The Ohr's relationship with Steele and Fusion GPS was inexplicably concealed from the FISA. The FISC, the Foreign Intelligence Court. And then it says right here, FBI's Counterintelligence Division, Assistant Director Bill Priestrap, corroboration of the Steele dossier was in its infancy at the time of the initial Page FISA application. Who is doing the interrogations of Bill Priestrap and Bruce Ohr? It's not the HPSCI. It's not the House Judiciary Committee, and it's not the Senate, Chuck Grassley. Remember, Grassley is relying on responsive FD 302s provided by the FBI. See where this is going? The investigative unit of the IG is providing Congress with transcripts of testimony from IG investigators, DOJ and FBI employees within the OIG, with the review, control, and approval of the DOJ outside prosecutor. DOJ Inspector General Michael Horowitz has interviewed these witnesses, likely with his appointed DOJ prosecutor, and extracted testimony. This explains why Devin Nunes changed his approach after discussion with AAG Rod Rosenstein and was no longer in a hurry to interview the five? Strzok, Page, Orr, Baker, and Priestrap. So, well, that's kind of weird. Is that a question? This explains why Devin Nunes changed his approach after discussion with AAG Rod Rosenstein and was no longer in a hurry to interview the five? Let me remind everyone that each of the unaffirmed names is still within the system. Unlike Mike Corton, David Luffman, Sally Yates, James Rebecki, and Andrew McCabe, none of the five, Strzok, Page, or Baker Priestrap, have been removed. Strzok is in FBI HR, Page is doing something, Orr and Baker are holding down chairs somewhere, and Priestrap is still assistant FBI director in charge of counterintelligence. It doesn't go unnoticed the media are transparently not following up on Peter, Lisa, Bruce, Jim, or Bill. No satellite trucks in front of their houses, no pounding on their doors for comment, nothing. Further, ask yourself why Inspector General Michael Horowitz, or someone thereabouts, began to advance upon the entire Trump operation with releases of Strzok Page text messages. Why them? Surely other collaborative communication was also captured, yet we only heard of Page and Strzok. Why? Here's what is becoming transparently obvious. The FAB-5 are cooperating with the investigative unit of the OIG, all five of them. The text message release was strategic. It was intended to substantiate the entire enterprise, put the small group on notice, and flush out the co-conspirators. The downstream exits of Corton, Luffman, Rebecki, McCabe, et al. Are evidence therein. Additionally, the OIG, Horowitz, would want to keep the testimony of Page, Strzok, Orr, Baker, and Priestrap away from the Democrat politicians, well-known leakers within the House Intelligence Committee, i.e. Strawwell and Schiff, until he was certain that their usefulness as witnesses was exhausted. The reason for this is transparently simple. The OIG is a division inside the Department of Justice. During an internal investigation, if the IG becomes aware of unlawful activity, she is obligated to inform the AG Sessions or AAG Rosenstein. He can't ignore it, and he cannot delay notification of it. Unlawful activity must be reported. The IG does not have legal or prosecutorial rights. The IG does not have legal or prosecutorial authority, and the IG must immediately refer unlawful activity to the proper authority, essentially to his boss. A DOJ prosecutor is then assigned to work with the IG, as Jeff Sessions confirmed today, and essentially creates a parallel investigation focused only on the law-breaking part. That prosecutor would then begin a grand jury proceeding, and no one outside the AG or AAG and the outside prosecutor's office would know. The prior testimony statements to the IG by the FAB-5 would explain why AAG Rod Rosenstein was negotiating with Nunes, would explain why Rosenstein was reluctant to allow testimony, and would also explain why Nunes came away from those negotiations with wind in his investigative sails. The DOJ, Rosenstein, needs to wall off the politics, Nunes, Congress, from the ongoing criminal investigation, DOJ, OIG, prosecutor, to preserve the integrity of his advancing and assembling case, including criminal witness testimony. As soon as he understood this was going on, and after a review of the FISA documents, Nunes dropped his demand for immediate testimony by the FAB-5 to the HPSCI mid-January. A record is already established. As a person familiar with such specific investigative measures recently shared, they are sat down, told not to do anything, say anything, or discuss anything until they get an attorney, at which time the attorney is handed a letter from the investigating unit. That letter says, in essence, this is how screwed you are. If you want to be less screwed, you will sign this letter of cooperation and assist us. When we don't need you, you sit there. When we do, we will call you and you will provide what we need. Any deviation from this agreement lands you in jail for the full term. Additionally, regarding Bruce and Nellie Orr, the Republican memo states they turned over all their work and testified to someone that Bruce Orr met with Christopher Steele, and Steele was saying he didn't want Trump in office. They didn't testify to a congressional committee, so it had to be the IG. The already existing outside DOJ official outlined by AG Sessions is the person who would be constructing the witness agreements with approval of his DOJ bosses, Rosenstein and Sessions. All the news and information coming forward, including the lack of follow-up attention by the Democrats regarding the minority HPSCI memo, aligns with a very specific set of facts. Strzok, Page, Baker, Priestrap, Orr, and likely Nellie Orr have cut some kind of deal with the outside prosecutor for process leniency in exchange for cooperation with the IG and DOJ prosecutor. Thereby, the FAB-5 have provided the IG investigative team and the DOJ prosecutor with sworn statements and testimony, which is highlighted in investigative communication between the DOJ and Nunes. And we see snippets surfacing in the Nunes memo. That perspective explains everything seen and not seen. It is likely the final investigative summary from the Department of Justice Office of Inspector General Michael Horowitz is going to be very encompassing. It also is likely to be immediately followed up by actions, perhaps immediate indictments from the DOJ prosecutor who Jeff Sessions brought in from outside of Washington. There is no need for a special counsel when a DOJ prosecutor is already working with IG Horowitz. The outside prosecutor can begin issuing subpoenas for grand jury testimony and statements by the officials no longer within the DOJ FBI, just as soon as the IG report is finished. Okay? Hope that brings you up to speed, guys. I'm out of here. Have a good day.